Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Mike again, and got another request from Mango Hippie, and this one, it says it's ABC News. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Australian Broadcasting, and it's the hunt for Australia's mythical half-ape, half-human, the Yowie. All right, so he says the volume varies. Turn the volume up a little bit to record. So I'll be able to play it by ear, I think, on the go. So let's get into the intro and right into the video. Here we go, y'all.
The fern fronds tall fashion a lacework over your head, hemming you in with a high green wall. Then, when the thrush calls once, stop dead. Ask the old grey wallaby there, him prick-eared by a woolly butt tree, how to encounter a glug. Australia's own C.J. Dennis may well have offered similar advice to those taking part in the current Queanbeyan quest for a Yowie. Few people are fortunate to be able to claim an encounter with Australia's answer to a Yeti or a Bigfoot.
Well, I'm afraid it's rather unlikely. It's unlikely on geological grounds. For example, there's been a very large major sea gap between Australia and Southeast Asia, which is the nearest part of the rest of the world, which appears to have been there, well, we don't know for how long, but of recent animals, it appears that only Homo sapiens has got across, bringing with him the things like the dingo, his presumably semi-domesticated dog at that time.
Dr. Colin Groves is lecturer in prehistory and anthropology at the Australian National University. Yowie hit the headlines again last month when the Queanbeyan Age published the claims of a Blue Mountains naturalist, Rex Gilroy, supported by photographs and illustrations said to prove its existence. It was too good an opportunity for the Queanbeyan Festival Committee, headed by public servant Jim Belshaw, to pass up.
$100,000 is a lot of money. How safe do you think it is?
I think it's very safe. That can mean safe in two ways. First, there is some chance we'll have to pay the reward, but I think that we'll have no problems in recouping any reward that we pay. A Yowie would be an international story of the first order.
Today around Canberra, radio talkback programs were inundated with alleged sightings. John Shand, an unemployed playwright, claims he's actually caught one.
Well, my friend Jack and I were going for our normal early Sunday morning walk beside Lake George, and we were walking along the edge of the lake on the far side, away from where the road is, and suddenly we noticed some ripples in the water, and slowly a head emerged. And at first we thought it was some sort of ape that had been taking a swim, but as more and more of it appeared, it showed that it wasn't neither an ape nor a man of any sort. It was sort of a cross between the two. It had the marks of intelligence that a man bears, but the fur, long shaggy fur, more like an ape. But it stood at least 14 foot tall by the time it emerged from the water.
14 feet?
Yes.
Well, how did you actually go about capturing it then?
Well, when it caught sight of us, it reacted rather strongly and cried, "Yahoo!" and charged towards us. And as it got nearer and was about to make the kill, it started crying, "Yowie! Yowie! Yowie!" in a voice similar to that, though not quite the same. Whereupon my friend, who was the more adventurous of the two, tried to make communication with it. It appeared not to respond. In fact, it just responded by grabbing him, and between what was just his thumb and his forefinger, holding him high in the air, and then bringing it to his mouth and biting off his arm.
It ripped his arm off?
Right off, yes. Now this was quite a shock to my friend, of course, but it appeared that it was more of a shock to the Yowie, who fainted when it saw the blood, I think. And
all right, man. How does this guy go about keeping a straight face? You know, first of all, he starts out as an unemployed playwright, and they were out on a Sunday morning walk with him and a friend. No one's heard this story up until this point, apparently, because the news were interviewing him, and he's talking about how this man-ape picked up his friend between his thumb and his forefinger, picked him up in the air and bit his arm off. Yet no one, that would have been international news for sure, but apparently that was kept a secret until this interview. I don't know how. I'm probably going to giggle all the way through this, y'all. It's almost done, but it's pretty funny, man.
My friend now was becoming much more excited about this fainted Yowie than about his missing arm. And he suggested we should try and bind it up. Now, luckily, we had some rope and we did this.
Wait, you go on a normal Sunday walk with some rope.
How did you fit a 14-foot Yowie in a cage this size?
Well, that was a problem, yes. What we had to do is one of us had a saw by sheer luck, and we cut it off above the waist and just brought the top half back and put it in there. We noticed that immediately we cut off the top half, the wound healed of its own accord. Mm-hmm. And by the time we got it back here, new legs were already forming.
How should they approach a Yowie?
Well, with any new creature, I approach it with some caution, though I personally haven't heard of any stories of people being hurt by Yowies, or at least none that I can verify.
I would say to anybody thinking of going out to look for the Yowie that there might be dangers involved. I would quote a story of the Bigfoot in North America, of a girl who stated that she was kidnapped by a Bigfoot and held captive for some 2 to 3 weeks, and the animal made repeated attempts to ravish her, and finally she got away under very stirring circumstances. And therefore I would say think twice before you go out, not only girls, but there's also the possibility, we know that homosexuality exists in the animal kingdom, and there's also the possibility perhaps of a gay Yowie, so watch it when you go and have a look.
The specimen shelves at the ANU, right at the scene of the action, tell a sorry tale. Although there are an impressive array of hominids' heads from Pekin man to Heidelberg and Chukutian, not to mention Wajak and East Rudolph, there's still an empty space awaiting Australia's own link with the apes. Colin Grove says he'd be thrilled if that shelf could be filled.
Well, I suppose you can't exclude its existence. As a scientist, I must not do this. As Charles Kingsley said, in order to prove that no water babies exist, you must see no water babies existing. But up until now, I must admit that the nearest thing to a Yowie I've seen is my friend Chaucer.
Who's Chaucer?
I'll show you. Chaucer! Chaucer! Come on! Hey! Hey! That's Chaucer.
Okay. Man, that was just a great article. And I've always loved ABC News, their documentaries, but this one, I think they went into it kind of slapstick comedy. If they didn't, oh Lord, man, because it was all I could do not to bust up, man. That was pretty funny. Yeah, I like it. That's going to make me feel good all day, man. So, all right, Mango, thanks for the request. Thanks, everybody. If y'all watch this, it means a lot. So I'll get us out of here. Till I see y'all again, I'll catch you down the road. Bye, and don't catch no Yowies.